America's turning 250, and it's time to rock out with our forefathers. American-made, battle-ready style for true patriots. Whether you're marching in the parade, grilling in the backyard, or raising a toast to liberty, do it in the gear that screams freedom. Celebrate 250 years of USA in style. Wear your American pride loud. Trendjackers.etsy.com. Grab yours before the fireworks.
From Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, this is Sportsbash, presented by TicketBash.com. TicketBash.com, where memories are made affordable and where you'll never pay a service fee. Get the best seats at the best prices at TicketBash.com. Sportsbash is also presented by Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service, keeping Long Island warm for over 18 years, serving their customers in Nassau and Suffolk with pride, honesty, and integrity. For more information, visit www.liboilers.com. Well, hi again, everybody, and welcome to a Tuesday edition of Sports Bash. I'm Peter Schwartz. Welcome inside Governor's Comedy Club podcast studio. Make sure you are subscribing to Govs Comedy Club podcast channel on YouTube and Facebook, and follow Sports Bash Media on X, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also listen to the show at Apple Music, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. 516-465-3990 is the number to call on what is really a spectacular Tuesday here on Long Island. We finally have some nice weather our way, and I still don't understand something. Drive behind the Tri-County Flea Market, behind the shopping center, and I'm driving the big giant parking lot, that connects that shopping center with the back here where Governor's Comedy Club podcast is, Governor's Comedy Club, and there's still mounds of snow. Like it's been so nice for a couple of days now. How long does it really take to melt this snow? And I'm thinking, like, can we throw some salt on top of these mounds of snow? Remember the old science project in school where, like, you figured out which ice cube melts faster, the one with the salt on it and the one without the salt on it? I must have done that stupid thing at home a million times. But like, can't they go? I understand they put the salt out on the roads when we had the blizzard. But maybe now you could take some of the salt and just get rid of these disgusting, dirty mounds of of snow because it's such a nice day, but I still got to drive past mounds of dirty snow. And what I really like about the weather now is that the stupid remarks from the family in Florida, not my mom, she never does, not my mother, but it's the other family members in Florida and people who I know. Oh, how what's the weather there in New York? 15, 20? Oh, it's 75 and beautiful sunny here. Well, you know what? That's running out now. Your little fun down there in Florida is running out because it's starting to get nice here, and we're going to enjoy some outside activity very, very soon. So we enjoy that. We have a great show coming up on the program. Looking forward to welcoming Shannon Hogan to the program, Islanders MSG Network's host and reporter. It's actually a day off for her. The Islanders are in St. Louis, but it's a TNT game tonight. So she's actually home here on Long Island, and we'll have Shannon via Zoom coming up at around 1:20, talk about the Islanders and Matthew Schaefer and the road trip and everything going on, plus a great community event that the Islanders will soon be doing that Shannon is part of. We're going to talk to Shannon about that coming up in about 17 minutes from now. We will also talk a little Jets football here on the show coming up at around 1:40. I'll be joined by Zach Rosenblatt, who covers the Jets for The Athletic. And the only caveat, there's a potential for him not being on. And that would only be if there's any breaking Jets news. And it's the first time I've ever walked in here not wanting there to be breaking Jets news, unless he's on with us. Like, if he's on with us at like 1:40, I welcome him in. And you ever watch ESPN when Adam Schefter during like the free agency stuff, and he's on his phone at the trading deadline, he's on his phone, and they're like, oh, Adam Schefter, he's got a scoop. Like, that would be great if Zach was on the show at 1:40 and something happened. Like the Jets signed somebody. Peter, I got to go because the Jets got this guy. Like, then I'd be fine with it. Like, as long as we got a couple minutes with him, but we don't want any breaking Jet news right before he comes on. It could be all they want to do afterward. We just want Zach on at 1:40. So we'll have Zach Rosenblatt from The Athletic on at 1:40. We'll also have the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day, what's hot at ticketbash.com, and the Coach's Collectibles item of the week. Time for the Sports Bash Flash. It's presented by the Marty Lyons Foundation. The 6th annual Marty Lyons Foundation NFL Draft Party will be on April 23rd at Great South Bay Brewery in Bayshore. For more information, visit martylyonsfoundation.org. I sound like a broken record, but it's one of the great events that the foundation does during the course of the year. I'm very blessed to have been asked back for the 6th straight year to be the host of the draft party. It's a great night with former Jets. Marty Lyons obviously will be there. Kenny Schroy, Greg Buttle is usually there. Bobby Jackson, Jay Fiedler stops by. There's raffles, other prizes, and great food and drinks. And the Jets have the 2nd pick and the 16th pick, and the Giants have the 5th pick. So it's a big night for the locals. There's fans of a whole bunch of other teams that come. I think they're going to get upwards of 300 people to come to the draft party. It's a great event, and if you can, stop by, get your tickets, martylyonsfoundation.org. I'm told by reliable sources that they're working on a really special guest. We're hoping that it works out. I can't really divulge who it is, but there is a guest I think a lot of people would love to see. And if they nail this down, if Kenny Zor and company nail this down, that it might be the best draft party they've ever had. Not that the other 5 weren't good. They have been good. But I'm just telling you, if they get this person that they're talking about, a lot of people would be really, really happy, especially people here on Long Island. I think would be that's too much of a hint. I've talked way too much about the little hint there about who that might be coming to the draft party. Speaking of the Jets, big day for them yesterday in free agency, and we'll talk to Zach Rosenblatt, hopefully, about that at 1:40 from The Athletic. Of course, the big deal yesterday, acquiring safety Minkah Fitzpatrick from the Dolphins for a 7th-round pick. The Jets will sign him to a 3-year deal worth $40 million. Jets also signed a boatload of free agents yesterday, at least 5 of them, including linebacker Demario Davis, who's a Jet now for the 3rd time in his career. Safety Dane Belton comes over from the Giants, and also defensive end Joseph Asai comes over from the Cincinnati Bengals. The Giants reportedly came to terms with 6 free agents, including tight end Isaiah Likely, punter Jordan Stout, and linebacker Tremaine Edmonds. WBC last night. The USA had to sweat this one out. They built a 5-0 lead, but they hold on, and they beat Mexico 5-3 to improve to 3-0. Aaron Judge with another home run last night. Paul Skeens was outstanding. 4 innings, 1 hit, no runs. And obviously with pitch count, it's kind of spring training still for everybody. So he only went 4 innings. And the USA will play Italy tonight to close out their pool play, moving on to the quarterfinals. Exhibition baseball yesterday, Yankees lost to the Pirates 5-3. Mets beat the Marlins 9-0. Hockey, the Rangers beat the Flyers 6-2. NBA, the Nets beat the Grizzlies 126-115. College basketball, congratulations to Hofstra as they beat Towson in overtime 68-65 to advance to the CAA Conference Championship game tonight. They will face Monmouth, and on the line will be a trip to the NCAA tournament, so best of luck to the Hofstra Pride tonight. Today it's the Yankees and Phillies, Cardinals and Mets in spring training baseball. The Islanders are in St. Louis. The Rangers host the Flames. The Nets host the Pistons. And that's what's happening. That's the Sports Bash Flash presented by the Marty Lyons Foundation. We're going to talk more about the Jets with Zach Rosenblatt in about half an hour or so, around 1:40. So there's a lot to talk about, with him and Shannon Hogan. We'll talk Islanders with us coming up at around 1:20. But I got to start with one of the dumbest things that a player could do. And you're angry about money, and you take to social media. And these players, they just don't learn their lesson. Going to social media is not going to help the situation. It's only going to hurt it. And Breece Hall did something so stupid yesterday that it makes you wonder if you're the Jets, if you're Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn, do you want this guy on the team? Now, I know he's a great player. I get it. He's an outstanding running back, and you want to lock him up long term. But he's on the franchise tag at $14 million. They're trying to work out a long-term deal, and every so often he has made these, subtle references about his contract situation. So they plop the franchise tag on him. And by the way, Breece, if you're unhappy about the franchise tag, blame your union, because your union negotiated that into the last CBA again. So the franchise tag is there for the teams to protect their players at least for the year. And the Jets will try to extend them to a long-term deal. But they signed all these players yesterday, and he takes to Twitter and he says this, quote, "Damn, we sure got a lot of money in Florham Park. All these contracts, dude signing with 3 sideways laughing, crying emojis added to it. Damn, we sure got a lot of money in Florham Park. All these contracts, dudes signing." And there's 3 sideways laughing, crying emojis. Come on, Breece. Because come out and say you don't want to be a Jet anymore. Believe me, you're not the first, you're not the last. And I know Jet fans are going to want him re-upped. Get him locked up. He's a great player. I get it. I understand that. But how badly do you want to keep a player who doesn't want to be here? Look, if we hired somebody here on the show, and over time, I didn't want that person. Oh, I did that already. I mean, if somebody doesn't want to be here, then you get rid of that person. So I don't understand why Breece Hall has to take to Twitter and poke the bear. Just come out and say, look, I'd feel better as a Jet fan if he just came out and said, I don't want to be here. I'd be upset, but I'd understand it. I'd respect it a little bit more. And no better than what Max Crosby did. Max Crosby spent months trying to get out of Las Vegas with the Raiders, and he gets traded to the Baltimore Ravens, and he goes on this whole Instagram video soliloquy about, he tried to make it work with the Raiders. No, you spent months trying to get out. And so I almost see the same thing happening here with Breece Hall. Going to social media is not going to make Darren Muji and Woody Johnson and Aaron Glenn want to say, you know what, let's throw a few more million. He's unhappy. He took to Twitter. He's unhappy. Let's throw $5 more million at him. It's not the way it works. The Jets are trying to get better. They're trying to use the system to get better. And I think they did that yesterday with the free agents that they signed and trading for Minkah Fitzpatrick. And they're probably going to add a quarterback tomorrow. Rumor is it, and we'll talk to Zach Rosenblatt about this, the rumor is it'll be Geno Smith. So they're trying to get better. And also to see what they have left over afterward. And I know, the normal thinking would be take care of your own. But this is the system that the Jets are working. They're not doing it to try and undercut Breece Hall. But Breece Hall's got to understand it too. And it's not like you put the franchise tag on somebody and they're making minimum wage. He's going to make $14 million. Sorry, I'll cry you a river. For $14 million? And I know you want the long-term stability. I get it. But this is not the way to handle it, Breece. I just don't get it. And that's the problem with social media. Look, it doesn't, not just this, it's anything in the world that goes on with social media. We didn't have this years and years ago. People didn't have this kind of platform to bitch and moan. And now people think they have a right to speak their mind openly like that. And look, I get it. It's the First Amendment. I get it. But how many more athletes are going to put their foot in their mouth on social media before it stops, before the madness stops? Go pick up the phone and call Darren Muji and say, hey, I see you're signing all these players. Is there any left over for me? Why do you have to make it public? Why do you have to do that? It makes you, the perception now is, and there's perception and reality, but the perception is that Breece Hall does not want to be a New York Jet. And that's okay. A lot of people don't want to be a New York Jet. I get it. But don't do it this way. Go to management, say, it's not working out. I want to go I need a fresh start to my career. And that's fine. But this is not a way to handle it. It really isn't. And I'm very disappointed in Breece. And I'd love to see him stay a Jet. But if he doesn't want to be here, then the Jets owe it to themselves to trade him. Period. End of story. You could find another running back in the draft somewhere. Running backs, even good ones, could be a dime a dozen if you do your homework and get a guy in the draft. So you can do it. You have a good offensive line. You have decent players. Go out and get a running back. You can find one in the draft. You've done it before. You drafted Braylon Allen. You've drafted other running backs before. They're okay. You don't need to draft a running back first overall. Doesn't work out. I can't believe Breece went that route. Unbelievable. It is time for the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. It's brought to us by the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Every customer is considered family at the Embassy Diner. Mention Sports Bash, get a free dessert with your meal. We post a poll question, a new one, every Tuesday and Thursday on the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter page. And this is a great question. And I can't steal it. I can't say I'm stealing it. It's not my original question. My wife, Cheryl, came up with this question yesterday. And I said, you know what? That's a good question. I'm going to use it. And like I said on the show all the time, this is not a dictatorship here on Sports Bash. It is definitely a democracy. So everybody is welcome. Even Tony Walker, my producer, and the host of the Knock 'em Dead comedy show, weekdays from 11 to 12:30. He is always welcome to make suggestions. I don't always take them. I don't always listen to him, but he's always welcome to contribute. My family is willing to contribute, friends, whatever, colleagues in the media. I'm always welcome to suggestions, how to make the show better, questions, segments, whatever it might be. And I love this question. When we were having dinner last night, my wife came up with this question. We were watching the WBC. We were watching the USA game, and she came up with a doozy. This is great. If you had a chance to play in a team international sporting event, what country would you play for? Because this has come up in the WBC, where you could be American, but you have roots for another country, or perhaps you have a family member from another country, and you have to choose who you want to play for. Sometimes you're not good enough to be on the USA team, then who else would you want to be on? So here's the question. If you had a chance to play in a team international sporting event, what country would you play for? Where you reside, where you were born, based on your heritage, or other, comment below. Tony, what would you do?
It's a tough one, but I think I'm going with where I reside.
Where you reside.
Yep.
That's probably where I would go too. Obviously, you want to try and play for the best possible team that wants you, but if it comes down to it, could it be heritage? Could it be where you were born? Heritage plays a big role. There's some really good major leaguers playing on Team Israel, including Harrison Bader, former Met and Yankee, playing center field for Team Israel. So there you go. So where you reside, where you were born, based on heritage, and other, comment below. Before we take a break and welcome in Shannon Hogan, yesterday the National Baseball Hall of Fame announced the winner of the John J. Buck O'Neill Lifetime Achievement Award, and it goes to former Major League Baseball player, Yankees broadcaster, and National League president Bill White. Congratulations to Bill White's family for this wonderful posthumous award. One of the reasons why I love baseball is growing up watching Yankee games on TV. It was Bill White and Phil Rizzuto and Frank Messer also, but it was really the back and forth between Bill White and Phil Rizzuto, and they would always bring a chuckle. And I always felt I learned something about baseball when I watched them. Without question, my favorite moment between the two of them was when the games are on WPIX Channel 11. And Tony, I know you're a Met fan, but we used to watch. There was a great night where they welcome in, and from wherever they were playing, the New York Yankees baseball on WPIX Channel 11. And you see the camera goes on Phil Rizzuto and Bill White. And Phil Rizzuto has the microphone in his hand like this. Hello, everybody. I'm Bill White along with... Oh, no. And he forgot who he was for a second. And the two of them just started laughing hysterically in the booth. Tony, do you ever see that clip on YouTube?
Oh, yeah. I've seen it. Yep.
Oh, it's hysterical. But Bill White was great. He was great doing interviews. He's on the call of Bucky Dent's home run against the Red Sox in the playoff game. That's Bill White on play-by-play. So a great honor for Bill White. He was a wonderful player, a great broadcaster, and obviously did a great job as National League president some time ago as well. So congratulations to Bill White's family. We're going to come back after a quick break, a word from the Embassy Diner. When we come back here on the program, I'm going to be joined by Islanders MSG Network's host and reporter, Shannon Hogan, when we come back right after this quick break. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sportsbash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Hi, I'm Peter. Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. I'm Peter Schwartz. Welcome back to the program. We'll get back to your phone calls in a little bit at 516-465-3990. Really quick, before I get to Shannon Hogan, my first guest on the show, I just want to let everyone know that my good friend, Sean Connors, an artist, and you've seen MSG Network has done a commercial about him and his work if you watch Islander games on MSG. He's an artist who has done so many great Islanders paintings over the years, including Mike Bossy and Matt Martin. He has completed yet another amazing masterpiece. It's this Matthew Schaefer painting for his first NHL goal back near the beginning of the season. For details on how to order a print, reach out to Sean by sending him a direct message on Instagram at SeanS1470, on X and Twitter at BCKT106Art. So you want to get your hands on one of those Matthew Schaefer prints. And I think maybe for his next piece of work, he can do a print of Matthew Schaefer doing a post-game interview with my first guest on the show. Does a wonderful job as the Islanders host and reporter on MSG Networks. And welcome into the program, Shannon Hogan. Shannon, it's Peter. How are you?
Hi, Peter. Thank you for having me. You're too kind. I'd love a commissioned art piece like that, though.
Well, I'll have to connect you with Sean. Maybe we can do one of those great post-game interviews that you do with Matthew Schaefer. In fact, the games that are not on MSG, it's funny. I was with my son, Bradley, at the Panther game last week. And once again, Matthew Schaefer gets a star. He comes off and he's looking for you and you're not there.
You know what? It's happened a couple of times this year. And I always laugh because I'm like, the worst thing about not doing a game for, like it being a national game, and I get that's, how it goes nowadays, is missing good games. And there have been a couple this year. And I'll be like texting, our producer, and I'm like, I hate missing good games. Like, I just want to be there. So, and then the first time where he was looking around, I think it was an OT game winner. I was so sick. I had the flu, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm never sick. Like, how did I miss that one? So, yes.
It must really. I was going to ask it a little bit later because tonight's game is on TNT. So you're home here on Long Island, not doing the game tonight. How weird is it to not do a game when it's on national TV? How do you handle yourself while the game is going on?
It's weird. It's really weird. The thing that's different is that then I put the kids to bed, so I put the kids to bed and then I kind of catch up on the game. And I think I watch it probably like a regular fan does, like I actually don't usually watch intermission because I'm like, oh, I can get up and like fold the thing of laundry and like, just be like a regular person. And there's usually a text chain going because I don't know how to turn my brain off for how I watch it. I will say, funny story about not doing a game when we were in LA, because we also didn't have the game. And John Ledecky and Scott Malkin were very generous, invited us up to their suite. So Cal and I, were with our producer, we went to dinner, we go into the game. Brendan and Butch are already there. And I'm watching the third period and Brendan and Butch are in front of me in the row. And I just don't know what made me think about this, but I leaned over and asked Brendan, I go, are you calling the game in your head right now? He was like, no, I'm actually not calling the game. Because I was like, is that how he, because when I watch it, I'm like, oh, we could clip that. Oh, we could talk about that. I'm thinking those things. But apparently Brendan Burke's amazing mind does not do that when he's actually not working a game. So it's a little different for him.
All right. So are you thinking like you're not doing the game, but you're watching the game? Are you thinking, well, if I was to do an interview after the game, this is what I would ask the player?
Yeah. Yes.
It's too
usually
funny.
Not after the game. It's more the intermission. It's more like, I wonder if they're going to talk about the neutral zone during intermission, or like, I wonder.
That's way too funny.
Yeah. I'm like, and when it's ESPN, it's fun because I used to work with AJ Malesko. So I know that we're a lot of times thinking similar things. So that's kind of fun sometimes.
I want to get back to the Islanders in just a second on the ice and get back to Matthew Schaefer also. But one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show today was that the Islanders do this great community event. It's called the Operation Shower. It's a baby shower that the Islanders Children's Foundation will host for 25 military moms. All of the expectant moms are active duty service members or the spouses of partners, deployed members of Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst, New York National Guard and the U.S. Coast Guard. It's something that you've been involved with now for a couple of years, and it's coming up very, very soon. How excited are you for it? How special has it been for you to be involved with this event before?
Peter, the Islanders put on amazing events throughout the year, but I have to say this is one of the most personal and intimate ones that I've had the pleasure of being a part of. I think it's been like 5 years now that I've done it. And they partner with Operation Shower. And I think what makes it different is it's got this Islanders, feel. It's like so beautiful. It's at the UBS club upstairs. They do an amazing job with the decor and the food and all of that. But it also it has the feeling of like you're in your mother-in-law's or your mom's living room, right? Which, I mean, on Long Island, I know everybody gets that. Sometimes you've got so many friends and family, you're at this big restaurant. But I grew up in the Midwest. So when I think of like a baby shower, I think of you want it to feel homey and intimate and personal. And it's not just the decor and the location. It's, that they're there with their either significant other or, some of the women are there with their moms or a friend because maybe their partner's deployed or working and can't be there. And the Islanders, a lot of the Islanders' wives, like Grace Lee has been doing this for a number of years. I think Ashley Palmieri is going to be there. Some of the coaches' wives go. But there is one moment in particular that always sticks with me, and they do this like shower in a box. So Yeah, they do. We do fun giveaways, and I kind of feel like Oprah at some point. I'm like, you get a crib, you get a crib, you get a crib. Like it's got that vibe to it. But there's one point where everybody gets a box, and it's not cookie cutter. You open it up, and in there are hand crocheted blankets that like a church group of moms or grandmas has put together. There are specific things for that mom, and whether it's the gender or, whatever. And I just feel like in an age where finding personal connection can be really, really hard, I can't even imagine what some of these families go through when you're in the military. You're already giving so much of yourselves or giving so much of your partner, that this should be a special and exciting time. And so the fact that we're able to help facilitate that is beyond special. I mean, I've done it where I've been pregnant too. Like I did it when I was hosting it, when I was like pregnant with my last one. I was almost ready to pop, So
did anybody have a surprise gift for you when that happened?
You know what? This is actually really great. I don't know if I was pregnant this year. They all kind of run together after a while, Peter. But there was one year where one of the wives came over and was like, Shannon, there's a woman here. You need to go over and say hello. And I went over, and I had met this woman before. She's a diehard Islanders fan. Her name's Colleen. And I want to say this is Colleen's 4th or 5th baby. And she was like, Shannon, meet baby Shannon. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like I'm holding this baby and I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever, because I'm not saying she named her baby after me, but there aren't very many baby Shannons around, So like we kind of hardcore peaked in 1985 to 87. So, but just those kinds of moments, that was like probably the biggest surprise I've ever had. Ann Rena, who works with the Islanders Children's
she's
Foundation,
a rock star. Shannon, I mean,
oh my God, she's puts it
unbelievable.
All together. She puts it all together, and whether it's part of that or just even separately having my own kids, they've been so generous to me over the years. But yeah, that was the biggest surprise for sure, Peter. Though they were like, "Here's baby Shannon," and I still see them. They still come by at all the games. She's got all her kids, and she's an amazing Islanders fan. And I'm like, we will be connected forever after meeting at the shower.
I'm just curious, when they do the blankets for the moms, are they sure what the gender is, or do they take a chance and make it?
So I think
there's a reason why I'm asking. There's a reason why I'm asking, and I'll get to it in a second. Yeah.
So I think when they get the information from the moms when they're coming, some of them know, and so they might say like they don't know the gender, and some of them do know the gender, and then I think they try to position the boxes based on that.
When my wife, this is why I'm asking the question. It's kind of a funny story. I don't think I've ever told you. So when my wife Cheryl was pregnant with our first child, Bradley, we didn't find out with either one of our kids what it was going to be. So
it's the best surprise.
It's the best surprise. There's not that many surprises left in life, but that's a great one.
Know.
So my wife reveals to me that she's pregnant, and we're obviously, unbelievably over the moon happy. The next 3 days, I'm driving to work, whatever game I was covering, and it just happened on the radio, is Martina McBride's In My Daughter's Eyes. 3 days in a row, Shannon, I turn on the radio and I hear that song. And I come home that third night and I said to my wife, we're having a girl. We're having a girl. I've heard this song on the radio 3 times in a row, to the point where my mother-in-law knits a pink blanket. Surprise, surprise, out comes baby Bradley. And then a few years later, baby Jared. Luckily, we knew somebody who was having a girl, so it didn't go to waste.
I love that. Yeah, I think in our family, everybody was always just like, it was like yellow or green. It was like a neutral thing. But I was the same way. I was like, I felt for our daughter, Neve, who's getting ready to turn 7. Like, I felt like she was a boy, and everybody was like, oh, you're carrying like a boy. I mean, what does that even mean? Like, it's a boy, it's a boy, it's a boy. But I kept having girl dreams, and I didn't know if I was just like, I didn't know if it was like my internal, like, I really want a girl, like I don't, and I have both and so blessed, but it's interesting the things that your body and brain do, because as soon as she was born, the first thing I said was, I'm so happy it's a girl. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that.
We're talking to Shannon Hogan, Islanders host and reporter on MSG. The Islanders are in St. Louis tonight, but you won't get to see Shannon on TV because the game is on TNT. But we will all be watching the game tonight, and all eyes, obviously, always now this year, are on number 48, Matthew Schaefer, and we touched on him a little bit before. For you, and you've been around this team for a long time now, and I'm an Islanders fan, as you know, going back years and years and years. I don't ever remember this much excitement about a rookie. There was excitement about John Tavares a number of years ago. I don't think there's ever been this excitement about a rookie. He has done wonders to change the fortunes of this franchise in a very short amount of time. For you, being around the team, being around him, how cool has it been? How special has this ride been with him?
It's been unbelievable. And I think, Peter, you know what it's like going in that room after a win or after a loss. And it's hard to explain to people because you knew it was going to be special. As soon as they won the draft lottery, you're like, all right, and then you start reading about him and seeing the clips and the videos of him leading up to it. And then they draft him and you've got this big moment and, the story with his family. And as soon as he stepped on to the ice and came out to do his sit down interview with me in training camp, I knew this was somebody special. He just has this aura about him, a confidence that is not off-putting. It is like purely himself. He seems very comfortable in who he is. He is quick to give back jokes and and also to take them. And I think he has a great understanding of the privilege that he has to be in this position for the Islanders and to be playing the game. And I think he genuinely loves it. What he's been able to do on the ice, I will never forget the first time I was really sitting down next to Cal Clutterbuck and watching him. And Clutter looked at me, and obviously more than 1,000 games in the league, he's got a great eye. And he was like, this kid is unbelievable. It is just different when you see him play in person. I think that that's led to a lot of people wanting to get to UBS. And, there's a reason the games are sold out the rest of the way.
12 straight sellouts.
You don't want to miss what he could do. And it feels like it could happen any night against any team. And there's something really unique and special about that around the NHL, not just with the Islanders. There's something exciting about it around the league.
There's no question about it. And really, he has had an effect on the entire franchise, from the tickets sold to the product on the ice. And there's not too many people, Shannon, that really thought the Islanders were going to contend for a playoff spot. I even think the biggest of Islander fans knew this might have been another transition year as the team had a new general manager with Matthew Darsh and getting ready for all the other young players to make their move here to Long Island. But he has had an effect on this entire team to the point where they are right in the middle of this playoff race right now. They're in a playoff spot. They're contending for the second spot in the Metro Division, and you can tell there's something about this team this year that is really special. And Patrick Waugh, I think, has done an amazing job keeping it all together and keeping this team focused as they try to push for a playoff spot.
Well, you've heard it once, you've heard it 5 times or 15 times this year. They're looking to play with joy. And I think that that's what you're seeing. I think they're really having fun. I think for a number of years, it's been clear it's a pretty tight group. And what's happened is, as some of those veteran guys have moved out and moved on, some of these younger guys are coming in, and I think they're still taking on that vibe in the room that you really genuinely have to like each other. And I think that that's very clear that this is a group that likes each other. They believe in each other. There's a level of confidence this season that I've seen that it doesn't happen every year, in which they might be down 2 goals or they might be down a goal or tied going into the third period and not even having a great game. And I think there's this belief in them that they are one big play, one great face-off win, 1 goal away from winning and forcing overtime. And there's a reason that they're undefeated when finishing games in OT. They've won 9 overtimes this season. I think they believe in each other. And I think that when they're playing the way that they need to play, they're able to play against some of the best teams in the league.
And at the trading deadline, they add another piece to the puzzle. And I think it's a really big piece in Braden Shen. And if just acquiring him and adding his skill and his experience, he's won a Stanley Cup, wasn't enough. I think the backstory to how this trade went down was incredible. You know, both the Blues and the Islanders were in the same hotel, getting ready to play the Sharks in San Jose, and they're able to facilitate this trade. You're there and get to see this all, you know, unfold. How cool was it to see the work that was done behind the scenes and to get this guy into an Islander uniform?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, there's so much work, and that's the one thing I've loved getting to see the On the Island documentary, because I have the privilege of seeing a lot of that stuff. I mean, not always in the room, but you know, I see that, and I don't think that the average fan does, and I think it's given them a really good perspective on this group. But we recently aired, I think during our pregame in San Jose, what it was like, the call, the meeting with Darsh, seeing inside, you know, the room and the suite of what it was like on trade deadline day. There's so much work that goes into it. You know, they're not sleeping, they're out west. But that might have been the easiest, one of the easiest trade transportations they've had. And it worked out great because, like you said, you know, the Islanders were on one floor, the Blues were on another floor. So he had to go up one floor, pop over, you know, shake hands with everybody. And, you know, probably wasn't that hard to get his gear because he had all the, you know, it was already at the rink and all that. And then now tonight they're in St. Louis. So, you know, I'm sure he'll have a chance to pack a couple bags and get his family organized before they're going to come out to Long Island. But, you know, even for a guy like, you know, Matt Martin, and I mentioned it on the broadcast, Kimber Auerbach, who's our vice president of communications. You saw Patrick Waugh was in the room, Steve Pellegrini, Chris Lamoriello. It really looked like it was a team effort there, and that Matthew Darsh really took value, that everybody kind of was going to bring a different perspective and a valuable one. And I was very grateful when he came on the broadcast and shared that with us, because I thought that was an interesting take. I think there are some GMs that like to keep the circle maybe a little tighter. And I thought it was really interesting that he was actively looking for perspectives from other people as they were trying to continue to build this team.
And last thing, Shannon, we appreciate your time. I don't know the exact number of games left, but we're heading down the stretch here. The Islanders are in a playoff spot. How do you see this last little push here going for the Islanders? What will it take for them to get across the finish line and punch their ticket to the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Peter, it's going to be the same as every year. You know it's going to be the same. We're going to get to that last 2 weeks of April. We're all going to be biting our nails. We're hoping that they're going to secure a spot. You know, I think the bigger thing, too, is less, in my mind, it's less of, are you going to make it or not? Are you not? I think that they're going to make it. I think if they keep playing like this and winning games, that they should be able to, you know, withstand the push from the teams that are below the yellow line. I think the bigger question is, can you stay in one of those 2-3 spots? Because no one wants to play Carolina again. Let's just be real. No one
We've
wants
seen
to
enough
play
of
Carolina.
that. Enough.
You know, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. And Raleigh's a beautiful city, but something different. I think it's not just about getting into the playoffs. I think it's about getting a different experience in the playoffs. And I think if you can play Pittsburgh in the playoffs, you've got a chance in that first round. And I think Matthew Darsh has been clear that he wants his young players to get that playoff experience. So right now, Islanders have to take care of their own business. Stay hot and healthy and get yourself into that first round.
Shannon, I cannot thank you enough for spending some time on the show today. Hopefully see you at UBS over the weekend. And
I'll be there.
We'll see you soon. Take care. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me, Peter. Have a great rest of your show.
You too. Thank you, Shannon. Shannon Hogan, Islanders host and reporter on MSG Networks. And I do believe Zach is standing by. Is Zach there? Yeah. We're going to bypass the commercial break because I know something has come up in Jetland that Zach has to tackle. So we're going to welcome Zach in really quick and have him on for a few minutes as the Jets are right in the middle of the free agency frenzy. Zach Rosenblatt from The Athletic, who has done a great job in the last 24 to 48 hours covering everything that has gone on with the Jets. He joins us here on Sportsbash. Zach, it's Peter. How are you?
I'm great. How you doing, Peter?
Doing great. So tell me, how much have you slept over the last 48 hours?
You know, I stress about sleep during this time of the year because a couple of years ago, I thought, the Jets hadn't done anything yet. It was like 9:30 and I'm pretty lame and I go to bed early. So I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I passed out. I wake up in the middle of the night. The Jets had signed like Tyrod Taylor and John Simpson and somebody else. And the whole Jets fan base got after me for not being awake for it. So now I can't fall asleep because I'm stressing about missing stuff, I would say. So my lack of sleep is tied to that.
A lot of
coffee.
There you go. Well, it was a busy day one for the Jets in free agency with the acquisition of Minkah Fitzpatrick and a boatload of free agency signings or agreements yesterday that aren't official just yet. But can you give me your grade on what the Jets did yesterday on day one?
Yeah, I'd give it a solid B. Like I think they did what they had to do. They revamped their defense. They went into the offseason and free agency with a mission to bring in some veterans and some leadership and some players who can set a good example for young players on that defense, because they were really, really lacking that last year. There was just no direction, both from the coaching and from the players themselves. Like Jamie Sherwood took over as the captain from CJ Mosley, and I don't think he was ready for that. So you add a guy in Demario Davis who is one of the best leaders that you can find in the NFL in terms of defensive players. You had David Onyemata, the defensive lineman, been in the league a long time, highly respected. Aaron Glenn knows him well. Two guys that know Aaron Glenn, that's key. Then you also add a couple of young edge rushers, and you add Minkah Fitzpatrick, who's kind of right down the middle of, not too old, but also like somebody who is a really hard, intense worker. So it was very clear that defense was a number one priority in free agency, and they addressed a lot of their needs.
No question about it. And you mentioned Demario Davis, who's a Jet for the third time. And they draft him, they let him go, they brought him back, have him in the building again, let him go again, and it's amazing he's back for a third time. You just don't see that too often. But even at his age, I think he's 37 years old, he just brings a tremendous dimension back to the Jets.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the thing. Like, I think number one, they brought him back for his leadership and to be like the guy with the green dot that Aaron Glenn trusts. But number two, like, he's still a pretty good player. Like, if you look at him last year, he still had like 140 tackles. He grades out as one of the best run-stopping linebackers in the NFL. He's not athletically quite the same player, but he's not bad in coverage by any stretch. So, he's an upgrade at linebacker where Quincy and Jamie Sherwood really struggled last year. I think he's going to really, stabilize things. And, an important thing that CJ Mosley was really good at is simply getting guys in the right position. Like, it's an underrated part of your middle linebacker, your green dot, your captain, the guy just making sure everybody's in the right place, and he's perfect for that.
Couple minutes left with Zach Rosenblatt from The Athletic, who covers the Jets, and the Jets been very busy so far in free agency. But the one position, Zach, that they have not addressed as of yet, maybe they've done it I'm sure they've done it internally, but they have not made any announcement yet, nor has there been any reports about what the Jets might do at the quarterback position. I know you were on another show yesterday, kind of intimating that perhaps that player is going to be Geno Smith. Where do the Jets stand right now in terms of adding a veteran quarterback, or maybe they add two veteran quarterbacks to the team?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the plan is two veteran quarterbacks. But from what I understand, they want to get the first quarterback in, like the QB1 in before you get the QB2, as opposed to, getting the backup first. So, I'd say Geno right now, like as I said on my podcast last night, like it would be a surprise if it's not Geno Smith is how I would say it. I think they're heading in that direction. The difference between him and like Tua is that the NFL has this rule that like, if the team doesn't announce that they're releasing a guy, then that guy can't talk to teams. So like Tua, the Dolphins did like a whole, song and dance about how they're cutting him. So he was able to, agree to whatever he agreed to with the Falcons. Whereas Geno Smith and Kyler Murray, their teams didn't say anything. So they're kind of like technically still property of those teams. So no, the Jets can't talk to Geno Smith yet. But I imagine once the new league year starts at the latest, like it'll be pretty quickly after that you're finding out who the Jets' next starting quarterback is going to be.
Zach, how do the Jets kind of battle this? They want to get better. Obviously, it's important for this regime and Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji to win some games this year, and obviously lean Woody Johnson in the direction of giving this regime a third year. And how do they balance that against, well, if they don't find their franchise quarterback in the draft this year, or they don't find a veteran quarterback that can do the job, obviously with 3 first-round picks next year, they would be in position for it again. How do you balance their decision-making in trying to win games this year, but also, maybe thinking in the back of their heads, maybe there's another tank involved in trying to get Arch Manning next year?
Yeah, it's a very interesting calculus because obviously the prudent thing would be to plan for next year more than like trying to go all in on this year. And I think that's I think they're trying to toe that line. If you look at the moves they've made, like they didn't they didn't get any superstars. They didn't go and get anybody at the top of the market. And then Geno kind of falls in line with that for me. Like, I think Geno is a solid NFL quarterback, like better than he was in Vegas last year, but he's not someone that's going to win you 10 games. He's someone that, he could win the Jets 5 or 6 games probably, like just based on where the roster's at right now. And maybe if you get lucky, a couple more. And, at the end of the day, the Jets just need to build a better culture. It's a really bad situation there. Like, it was really rough last season, especially on defense. Aaron Glenn is probably coaching for his job, so he's not going to be trying to lose. And so, you try to, the best case scenario, if you're a Jets fan, would be they're competitive. You win, 4, 5, 6 games, and you show signs of some progress by the end of the season to where you can go into the draft and be like, okay, whether we're in position to draft the guy with our own pick or if we trade a bunch of our assets and move up, like they have the ability to do that.
And last thing, Zach, and I appreciate your time on another very busy day for the Jets. Jets will have the 2nd pick and the 16th pick in the first round, barring any trades. And I would think if they do go the veteran quarterback route over the next few days, maybe that 2nd pick is used for something else other than a quarterback. Maybe they wait till later in the draft and look at a quarterback. How do you see if they stay at 2 and 16? Where do you think their focus lies now with the draft?
I think 2. I still think it's Arvell Reese is still the favorite to me, the edge/linebacker from Ohio State. Like, he has the ability to play different spots. David Bailey is also interesting there, but 16, I think they can have a little more flexibility there. But I still lean wide receiver or offensive line right now because you lose AVT, you lose John Simpson, you need a guard there. The kid from Penn State is really interesting to me. So I lean more towards maybe an offensive player with that 2nd pick.
Awesome. Zach, I know it's a busy day, and I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for spending a few minutes. Best of luck with the rest of the off season. Drink some more coffee, and we'll have you on again very soon.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Good talking to you.
You too. Thank you so much. Zach Rosenblatt from The Athletic. It's been, I covered the Jets off and on for a number of different places, and this is the time of the year where you do not get a lot of sleep if you're covering an NFL team. There is a lot to do, and things can change at any moment, and I certainly, envy the job that Zach and all the other people that cover the Jets and the Giants as well are doing at this time, trying to keep up with the agents and the sources and everything like that. And it's going to be a busy few days right through the end of free agency when the league year starts. I think it's March 11th when the league year starts. And then, of course, you start getting ready for the NFL draft. And April 23rd, it's literally right around the corner. And again, as I mentioned at the top, you want to make sure you are at the Marty Lyons Foundation NFL Draft Party for a lot of fun there at Great South Bay Brewery in Bay Shore. We have to catch up on a few things because we had back-to-back guests on the show. So let's go back to what's hot at ticketbash.com. I'm driving Tony crazy today because we're all over the. You got it. Let me tell you something. He is like, this is not him today. Like sometimes he could be like this. Today it's a solid, very smooth running operation here today in dealing with the back and forth. What's hot at ticketbash.com? The Big East tournament takes place at Madison Square Garden as St. John's looks for their 2nd straight title. Friday night, the Islanders return home to UBS Arena to host the Kings. They'll also be home on Saturday to host the Flames. And on Sunday, the Knicks will host the Warriors at the Garden. Concerts and shows. I don't know if it's a new announcement, but I saw somebody was at a contest today online. I think it might have been Newsday. Was it Newsday or the Jets? Oh, the Jets. I don't know. I can say I entered it. The Jets were having a contest online to win tickets for September 6th, Ed Sheeran at MetLife Stadium. And I would really love to win those tickets. There's 4 of them in that contest. And I know my younger son, Jared, loves Ed Sheeran, and we would love to go to that show. So we'll see. But I don't know if that was already announced or if that's something new. But I just saw that come across an email earlier today. But that wasn't part of my script for concerts and shows. Barry Manilow in concert April 13th at UBS Arena at the Garden. Lady Gaga is in concert March 19th and 20th. And WWE Monday Night Raw at Madison Square Garden on March 30th. Get the best seats at the best prices with no service fees at ticketbash.com. On we go to the Coaches Collectibles item of the week. Coaches Collectibles, your number one source for 100% authentic sports memorabilia and live public autograph events. And another item or items that Tony Walker is very excited about, these 2 Mike Piazza autographed 16 by 20 framed photos. And it's you can get more information at coachescollectiblesny.com. Is the one thing I don't see on either of those pictures was Mike Piazza flying out to end the 2000 World Series. I didn't see that on there. Now Tony's going to punch me in the face.
Yeah, I don't see him when he was going to kick Roger Clemens' butt either. I don't see that either.
Wait, I'm glad you brought that up. Because that was actually a topic of conversation on sports radio this week. I don't want to implicate my colleague at WFAN that brought it up, but he is a Yankee fan, and he is still maintaining that Roger Clemens wasn't trying to hit Mike Piazza with that bat. Now, I will tell you, I was at that game.
Oh, were you?
In the upper deck in left field. Could not see it very clearly. But and you know me, I call it like it is. We're all transparent here on the show. Diehard Yankee fan. For anybody, much less a Yankee fan, to think that Roger Clemens was not throwing that bat at Mike Piazza, you have to be out of your mind.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah. I mean, listen, let's be fair. That's what he was doing. But Roger Clemens, who should be in the Hall of Fame anyway, because that's just how I feel about the whole steroid thing. But he was clearly doing it. And look, it was what it was. But I got a chance to interact. I covered a lot of Met games. Mike Piazza, one of the great guys you could ever want to talk to. Would love to have him on the show, Jay Horowitz. By the way, the reaction to Bob Ojeda on the show last week was through the roof.
Nice.
And people keep coming up to me on the street, in the supermarket, home, everywhere. I love the interview. Great question by Tony there at the end. But yes, Mike Piazza, autographed 16 by 20 framed photos from Coaches Collectibles. It's time to tell you about the next Coaches Collectibles public autograph event. Wednesday, March 25th, Chaz Palminteri will be at Fox Hollow Country Club in Woodbury. Photo ops, 6:30. Then the autograph session is from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Check out Coaches Collectibles online at www.coachescollectiblesny.com and use code SPORTSBASH for free shipping on all of your orders. Upcoming shows here on Sports Bash. This Thursday, the latest installment of FOP, Friend of Peter, and I am very excited to have here in studio with me for the entire hour, outstanding writer who covers all of Long Island, not just sports, but also news stories as well. My good friend Alex Mitchell will be in studio here for the whole hour. He, in addition to sports stories, he has done some great local news stories. Embassy Diner with what they did during the snowstorm, and our friend Gus, doing all that great work to feed the first responders across the street at the hospital. And he just did a story that came out today in the Post on our good friend, Big Daddy Rich Salgado, whose charity golf outing is coming up for Tunnels to Towers. So you want to check out that story by Alex Mitchell in the New York Post. But Alex is obviously a huge sports fan like myself. Does a great job covering Long Island sports. And we might bring this up. No, I think we will bring this up on the show tomorrow because, last year, when we were doing that whole football thing, right? You remember that? We had tryouts for that football team, and Alex did a story. He tried out. He came to the tryouts. And you remember who that is now. See that Tony's like, it got to him right there. That's who that was. But yes, Alex came to one of the tryouts, tried out. He did not make the team. Well, let's put it this way: he did not make the. No, I wasn't trying out. I was the general manager. Well, I didn't even have, and that's the funny part too. It's like people are like, well, how did this guy not? I actually didn't have control over the roster. I hired the coach to do that. That was the coach's decision to come up with a list of 30 players to invite to training camp that never happened. But Alex was not one of them. And I think he knew that going in, but it was great. He did a wonderful job going through the drills. We'll talk to, maybe we'll get some of the footage that was shot of Alex doing that tryout. But it's going to be great. There's a chance that we're going to have a special guest on the show. We'll know it for sure tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But it's going to be a great hour with Alex and talking sports and having some fun there on the show on Thursday. Now, next Thursday, March 19th, we're going to talk indoor soccer here on Sports Bash. Now, For those of you of my age, or maybe in that same category, remember the New York Arrows who played at Nassau Coliseum, Shep Messing, Steve Jungle, all those guys. I loved indoor soccer. I used to go, I had season tickets for the Arrows back in the day. Used to go to the games all the time. And I always wondered, like, now there's this new league, the MASL, Major Arena Soccer League. And I always wondered, like, would they ever bring a team back to the area? Well, there is a team coming back to the area, but it's going to be in Newark, New Jersey. And I'm going to be joined by Matthew Jollis, the president and CEO of Gotham Sports and Entertainment. They are bringing an indoor soccer team to Newark in December of this year. So we're going to talk to Matthew about that and find out maybe if they bring the team to Newark, maybe they can bring a team to Long Island too. We'll ask him. Maybe he's got a few extra bucks in his pocket to bring a team to Long Island. So we'll see what happens with that. And that ends an absolutely action-packed program for this Tuesday. And that's all. And that's all. We want to thank everybody for watching. Sports Bash is presented by TicketBash.com and Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service. Thanks to my guests, Shannon Hogan and Zach Rosenblatt. Thanks to Tony Walker, everyone here at Governors. And thanks to our social media coordinator, Leanne Burgess, who's going to be very, very busy after this show cutting up some of the clips that I instructed her to do. No pressure, Leanne, whatsoever, based on our pre-show meeting earlier today. Sports Bash is sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, Coaches Collectibles, and by the Marty Lyons Foundation. Thanks to everyone for watching and listening. We are back with you on Thursday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Maybe by that point, the Jets will have a starting quarterback. We'll know more.